What's up, everybody? Trey Griggs here, Beta Consulting Group, and you are here for episode 116 of The Word on the Street, powered by Beta Consulting Group. It is Finish Strong Friday. Make sure whatever you're doing today, you're getting after it, making this weekend a lot better. And shout out to my girl, Melissa Guzman, on social, who posted a picture of her new swag, the Finish Strong Friday t-shirt from the swag store. We appreciate the support of small business. If you'd like to get your own hashtag shirt with Finish Strong Friday or Iron Minds or Be Excellent Today, make sure you visit our swag store, which you can see online at our website, betaconsultinggroup.com, or you can go directly to that at shop.betaconsultinggroup.com and see that and go ahead and get started with your journey of being a part of our community of people who are pursuing excellence every day. We'd love for you to be a part of that. Make sure you use coupon code BETA-GO, BETA-GO, to get 30% off of your entire order during our grand opening here in July. We'd love for you to be a part of our community and do that. And check out what we're doing to help companies tell their stories while you're on our website. We would appreciate that. Now, before we start the show, we got a great show today. We got an awesome special guest, and the street crew is in the house ready to go here shortly. But before we do that, we've got to give some shout outs to our sponsors who are supporting what we're doing here. First of all, love it that my friends over at Green Screens are supporting what we're doing. They are changing the game when it comes to dynamic pricing in transportation logistics. So check them out at greenscreens.ai or click on the link that Morgan's going to put into the show today so you can go directly to my landing page so they know that I sent you there. Talk to Kevin and Dawn and Meryl and all the great people over there. They're going to get you started today on a journey to change the way you're pricing your freight. And you're going to win more on the freight that you win more of. It's going to be awesome. Also, want to give a shout out to my sponsor, TAFS, of the good guys in freight factoring. Man, they're helping truckers, owner-operators, small fleets keep those wheels turning by giving them discounts on fuel and tires and all the things that they need to keep things running, along with capital, cash flow, all those good things to make sure it just continues to go. So we appreciate them. Make sure you check them out at TAFS.com or click on the link that Morgan puts in the show today so that you can get started immediately, and they know that I sent you to their website. So we appreciate that, and check them out. Even if you're a referral partner, you can also, as a freight broker, be a referral partner so your drivers have everything they need. I got a little lost there because I heard the crowd go. We are at the 3M Championship here in Minneapolis on the PGA Tour, watching our good friends Jared Wolf and Chris Nagel. Shout out Chris Nagel, Wildwood, Missouri. Watch them play. Beautiful 18th hole behind me here. Great environment. I'm at the Dobell Tequila booth. Shout out to Maestro Dobell Tequila for letting me work in here. You can hear the music going on in the background. Again, it's just going to be a great day. It's an awesome Friday here at the Word on the Street. All right, let's go ahead and bring the street crew in. We got a great crew that's going to be joining us today. So very excited to bring them in. All right, so first of all, I'm going to start with our friend from Matson Logistics. The order is going to be different, by the way, because I can't see everything. We're going to bring in our good friend from Matson Logistics. Everybody give it up for Greg Roberts. Greg, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you, man. Good to have you back on the show. There it is. There's the music.
Oh.
You know, as we say at Word on the Street, it's amateur hour here. It's always amateur hour. That's the way it works.
Always.
But, you know, we're getting better. We're getting better. It's going good. And it's my fault because, you know, it's like I'm not bringing people in the right order. That's just how it works right here. So what's up, man? What's good? How you doing?
Oh, feeling good. Working from home today. Got a workout in. Had to move my schedule around. A little bit of a workout before this, so got all the endorphins going. Feeling good.
Nice. Love it. Love it. All right, perfect. Okay, let's bring in our next guest, our next street crew member, that is. He is running Carnes Logistics. He's out of the Chattanooga Freight Alley. Everybody give it up for my friend Nathan Frazier in the house. Nathan, what's up, brother?
Hey, guys. How are you? Happy Friday, everybody.
I know. We're a little behind on the music today, and again, it's my fault. We'll get the music going here. Well, maybe we'll get the music going. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there's no music for you today. Again, it's just kind of how it works around here. That's just the way it goes. All right, everybody. No, that's not the right one. That's definitely right. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and bring in, you know her. She is the president and founder of Zen Freight Solutions. Everybody give it up for my friend, Raquel Packets. Raquel, what's up, girl?
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday.
On the road, heading out there. Where are you at right now? What are you doing?
I'm on the road, heading to Chicago right now.
You were at Walcott, the Truckers Jamboree. We're going to talk about that. You're going to Chicago now. Where else have you been?
We stopped in Omaha, Nebraska to see some clients there.
Nice. I love it. Love it. It was good to see you in Walcott. We had a great time at the Trucker Show. Got to see a lot of truck drivers. Got to have a great time. And always a good time to see you. So that was awesome.
It was.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, it was good. All right, Robert Bain, you ready to come on the show? Let's bring this guy on the show from Metaphora, my good friend. You know him as Beefcake, the strongest man in logistics. Everybody give it up for my good friend, Robert Bain. We got to play your song.
Yeah. I said I feel invincible. It's 100 niggas in the spot. I won't keep going. It's 85 just to walk on. I don't talk to these niggas.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
It's a good day to be me. It's a good day to be alive. It's a good day to be part of the street group, my friend.
Good day to be you. Good day to be alive. I love it. All right, what else do we have in there? We got the Freight Sensei. I can't see because the sun, the glare on the phone and that. But I think we got him in the house. The Freight Sensei is with us. Everybody give it up for our guy from Armstrong Transport up in Boise, Idaho. You know him, Scott Watanabe.
For those of you that want to know what we're all about,
you guys know this.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5%
What's up, brother?
50% pain, 100%.
100% reason to remember the name. Was I unmuted this time?
Yes.
No, you're
Yes.
in, buddy. You got it right.
Victory.
No, it's amateur.
How we doing, guys?
Today, we're
Happy Friday.
Good to see you, brother. How was that? You were on a trip recently. You went down to Disneyland again.
No, it was in Salt Lake. It's called Lagoon. It's amusement park. So
Nice. Yeah, not. Nice. Yeah, you had a crowd. You came on last week and had the whole crowd there, man. That was incredible. I was like, look at this guy jumping on with his whole crew behind him. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now your mic's giving out a little bit. Now we can't hear you. And this is the way it works around here, guys. This is the way it goes. All right, everybody, we got it. Do what? Oh, it's kind of like Kyle. Oh yeah. It's the way it goes. All right. So we got a special guest today. I met this guy just about a month and a half ago. Super impressed with what he's doing. He is the host of the Heavy Duty Parts Report, coming to us out of Toronto, Canada. Everybody give it up for my good friend Jamie Irvine. Jamie,
Hello.
what's up, man? How are you,
Hello.
man?
So I will forgive you for, taking the second largest landmass in the world and shrinking it down to Toronto because they think they are the center of the universe. I'm about 3,000 miles west of that, my man. Coming to you from outside of Edmonton, Alberta. I used to live in Vancouver, and all my friends in Vancouver right now are just dying a little bit that you brought the whole country down to Toronto because they already think they're the center of the universe, and they're not.
Massive fail on my part. Oh my goodness, we got to start this over. Massive fail. I've never been to Edmonton. I've been to Vancouver. It's beautiful. So the people in Vancouver watching, shout out. That's a phenomenal place. Love Vancouver.
And I just wanted to say, this weekend, Robert, I'm going for a new PR on the leg press. I'm heading to 1,400 pounds this weekend. I'm going to do it.
All right. I'm sorry. I got to do this, man. Don't tell me shit about your leg press till you tell me about it.
Till I what?
Till you tell me about your squat.
My squat. I broke my pelvis. My squat is horrible. I have a broken pelvis bone that's up in my abdomen.
I've got a broken L4. I've had ruptures.
Jamie, listen, you're not going to get any sympathy from Robert Bain.
That's right. I'm just
moderation is for cowards.
He's inspiring me to push myself, and then he just goes and slams me a little bit. That's okay. No problem.
Very neat, Robert Bain.
Everybody needs some kind of encouragement.
100%. Hey, everybody in the comments, Lionel Johnson, what's up? Good to see you. Everybody tell us where you're coming from, and if it's in Canada, tell us what city and what province. I'm not going to say state. I'm going to say province because that's correct,
there you go. You got it.
See? I redeemed myself just a little bit. All right, Jamie, real quick, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and kind of how you got into logistics, transportation.
So I was like 18, just out of school, and had no idea what I wanted to do. And the trucking industry found me, got kind of a summer job, and ended up working at that manufacturing plant for 10 years. And that just gave me the base in the parts industry. We were remanufacturing parts. I started in the shop, worked my way up to shop foreman, operations manager. Then I got into sales. Then I sold some parts for a national distributor here in Canada. They're owned by Napa Auto Parts, called Traction Heavy Duty. Stepped away from the industry for a few years, built a contracting business from startup to M&A in 2016. And then got back into selling parts, and then thought, you know what, why don't I launch the Heavy Duty Parts Report? Because I used to love taking manufacturer reps out into the field. We'd visit fleets, we'd visit repair shops, we'd have all these awesome conversations. And I was like, there's got to be a way to capture this. And so I discovered podcasting and launched the show June 1st, 2019. And here we are 3 years later and serving the industry and doing our thing. It's been awesome.
So you were on the forefront. See, the rest of us got started during the pandemic when we were at home and had nothing to do. We thought, let's jump into podcasting. But you were out in front of it, setting the trend just a little bit. What have been some of your favorite memories so far from podcasting? What guests have you had on? Anybody that we would know? Anybody that is like worth a shout out?
Well, I think it's been great to be able to talk to, like tier one manufacturers, like executives at Meritor, Dana, Grody, Phillips, some of the people who supply the parts not only to the aftermarket but also to the tier ones and OEM trucks. And we've had over 200 interviews, so there's a lot of people. But I also really love talking to the tier two manufacturers, those independent, entrepreneurially minded people who saw opportunities to build great products and supply them to the industry and keep the trucks and trailers rolling no matter what. So it's been a wild ride. Big shout out to someone who's been on the show many times, is Tyler Robertson from Diesel Laptops.
Oh, I love Tyler Robertson.
That guy's a visionary, and he's been a huge supporter of everything that we do. And like companies that have legacy, right? Ambac International, they've been around for 110 years. They supply products to the U.S. military. They do manufacturing. They do fuel injection for aftermarket. Very cool company. They're employee owned, and they call themselves the oldest startup in history. 110 years, but they still act like they're a startup. Very, very cool.
I think every company should act like a startup. I just think it's much more exciting. Companies should definitely do that. Shout out to Lionel Johnson, coming to us from Manitoba. Says it's literally the center of North America, geographically speaking. I'm going to take your word on that, Lionel. I have no idea, but I'm going to take your word on that. It's impressive.
I can confirm that.
You can confirm. Very nice.
Yeah.
So parts is an interesting situation right now. We've got, a huge problem with parts. I don't know if anybody has been, taking the car into a dealership for service lately, whether it's, just a regular car, an RV we've had or whatever. You can't get parts. I mean, what's going on? What are you seeing from your side of it with the supply chain, and how devastating is that to what's going on?
Yeah, it's crushing manufacturers and parts distributors alike. One of the main sponsors of our show is HDA Truck Pride. They've got 150 members, 750 stores around the U.S. and Canada, and 450 repair shops. And they are telling me every day that, they're getting quoted sometimes as much as 70 weeks on certain product lines, like 70 weeks. Like, how do you plan for that, right? One of the big issues, I think, is that as the supply chain on the manufacturing side has caught up a little bit, the new truck production, new trailer production has just consumed all of the raw materials for parts. And so I know guys that are running older trucks. James Rogers is a fella out of Missouri, and he's got 8 trucks. He's got an old Western Star. He just about got shut down about 300 miles from his house because of just a hose, right? He had a leak in a coolant hose, and he couldn't find a replacement. Crazy situation. And it does not look like we're going to see that really alleviate until 2024. And I mean, that's like saying we don't know. Yeah,
that's like saying best case scenario, best hope that we have. All right, so real quick, we got McNuts in the green room, everybody. Should we bring him on?
No.
All right, everybody, give it up for our good friend from 5 Tool Productions, Kyle McNutt in the house. Maybe. Oh, maybe not. We got to get him on there. Maybe not.
Is this like when Greg and I do like the shirtless 80s like workout montage?
we got too many things in the studio. That's part of the problem. We're going to have to kick somebody out. All right.
It's an 80s.
There we go. Now we'll do this. Now we get Kyle. Here we go. There's Kyle.
Oh.
Do we have Kyle now? Where's Kyle? Kyle, come on. We need to get Kyle in here. There's Kyle. What's up, brother? How are you?
What is with the pump fake, Kyle?
Where's Kyle? Bring Kyle back. I think, Ruth, you might have to step out of the production for today. We can only have 12 in there. So there's Kyle. There we go. Kyle, what's up, Kyle? How are you?
There he is.
Am I in now?
He's not in his office.
We are in. Yeah. Where are you right now? We're out. No, we're all on the balcony. We're on location.
I'm pulling a little Trey Griggs. I'm on the golf course right now.
As you should be. That-a-boy.
Hey, Kyle.
That-a-boy.
Kyle, I really hope that you never have to say that phrase again.
Which phrase?
Am I in now?
Solid. Robert, I should have known that. I was like,
Raquel, I could feel your eyes rolling. That was great.
And now he's gone. That's all right. Okay. All right, let's cut his music off. We don't need his music anymore. He's out of here. We'll get rid of that. All right, so you're thinking that probably not until 2024 is we're going to have a part. That's crazy to think about, how we're going to do that. Can we get the music shut off, by the way? Click it and turn it off. I don't think I can do it. Yeah, I can't. There we go. Now we got it off of there. All right. Again, like I said, it's amateur hour over here, so it's just how it works. Just how the way it goes. So Jamie, with this in mind, like what all does this impact? What does this affect?
Well, I mean, it's driving the operational cost, the total cost of operation for truck operators way up, because the downtime, when you're hearing stories of people with trucks down for 6-8 weeks because of just one sensor, you can only imagine the revenue loss that has. And this has a cumulative effect. I mean, if you're an owner operator, that would sink you. And if you have a independent fleet, you're potentially losing customers over that. The trickle down effect. But there's another kind of macro effect that all this has, because we have this crazy inflation right now. And as long as supply and demand, right, as long as there's more demand than supply, we're going to continue to see inflationary pressure. That has an impact on manufacturing as well, and trucking. And it's just this cycle that goes around and around and around. And if you don't have enough trucks on the road and they're not delivering, then you're just seeing that continued growth and pressure on everyone. So it's dynamic times. And one of the things I think is so important for everyone is to dramatically expand their supplier network. Like, that needs to be an absolute top priority. I'm talking to companies and they're saying they have task forces that they're assigning people inside of their company just with the sole objective of expanding their supplier network so that they can get access to the parts they need to keep trucks and trailers rolling.
Do we think this was a problem before the pandemic, that the pandemic was exposed, or is this really a byproduct of the pandemic? And I know supply chain's all connected, but how do we look at this? Was this an issue before, or was it an issue just came upon because of the pandemic?
Yeah, so some friends of mine over at Werner's, they said that they were so focused on other issues that it was an issue, but like losing visibility on parts orders and things like that were low enough down on the big pile of problems that they were looking at, and then all of a sudden it just like accelerated and became something that became a primary focus. So I think that in the past we were really lucky in a lot of ways. There was a lot of supply. When I sold parts, very rarely did I have someone call me and say, I can't find this part, unless it was really, really an odd part or something for a really old piece of equipment. Whereas now things like 3600A drums, people can't get enough of them, which is like the most common drum in the world. So it really has shifted. But I think that there was some weakness in our supply chain globally that we just didn't realize. And I think also that there was some things that manufacturers and distributors were operating in the old traditional way. And they were of the belief that what they weren't doing doesn't work. And there was a lot of things they needed to be updating in their business models. And then all of a sudden, when the pandemic hit and the full impact of that hit, now all of a sudden it's too late, right? You should have been working on this 4 or 5 years ago. And now everybody's just in a reactive kind of scramble mode.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild.
Follow question.
Yeah. Hey, real quick before you do that, so Scott called out Matt Leffler and he jumped in. He's here, everybody. Give it up for the armchair attorney, our good friend.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, brother? How are you, man?
I'm a huge fan of Jamie Irvine. I'm happy.
Matt, big fan of you, man.
I know. We got to play the music a little bit in the background. We'll bring it down, fade it down a little bit.
Take it.
Good to see you, man. How are you doing, brother?
Fantastic. It's a beautiful day. I have a hard stop in a little bit, but I'm excited to be here for the time that I have. So thank you for having me.
Dude, glad you jumped in. All right, Bane, what's your follow-up question? You didn't forget it, did you?
So, Jamie, do you feel, you mentioned that there was probably some weakness and some instability within the supply chain before. Do you feel that what we're seeing now is just simply a byproduct of the just-in-time mentality that started in the manufacturing sector for the OEMs and then trickled down into their supply network, which then trickled out into a significant number of other supply chains? And now that we've gotten away from that just-in-time because of the delays that happened in China in 2020 and 2021, is this the byproduct of that, or is this another? Is there something else besides that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way that we approach things for the last 20 years just continuously opened us up to more and more of a threat. And I don't think it was a matter of if this was going to happen. It was just when and what was the trigger going to be. But I also think that the United States kind of backing away from the stance that they took at the end of the Second World War with the, I think it was called the Bretton Woods Pact, but the idea that they were going to basically protect trade around the world and that was going to be good for everybody. You know, you can see the U.S. pulling away from that strategy over the last few years. And because of that, I don't think manufacturers and people who were bringing products from overseas reacted to it quickly enough. You're going to hear a lot more about nearshoring and manufacturing locally and things like that. I mean, we're already hearing it, but it's too late. Like, we needed to be investing in those manufacturing facilities and the raw material, you know, from North American sources. We needed to be investing in that 3, 4, 5 years ago in order to be ready for something like this. So could we fix this problem and insulate ourselves in the future? We could. And if you look at historically, you know, before World War I, the US really didn't give a crap about anything else going on around the world. They were very self-contained and they just took care of themselves, right? And they had all these raw materials, they had all of this wealth and everything. And over time, I think as we became this globalized community, it just opened up those threats. And so now we have to come up with ways of mitigating for those threats. And unfortunately, it looks a lot like we're going to have to be, you know, more self-reliant here in North America. The good thing is, here in North America, we have access to everything we need to do so. Who I feel really bad for is for people who live in Europe and Asia, because I think as the next 10, 20 years, it's going to get really bad over there for people. And it's a tragedy, because it shouldn't have happened. It doesn't need to happen, but it's going to happen.
I think to build up Jamie's point here is that everything we have in American manufacturing for heavy duty, our manufacturers are assemblers of other people's things. The constant pressure to have assets at a lower cost means you're sourcing globally. And so just because you're assembling here in the United States or assembling here in North America, everything's coming somewhere else because it's cheaper to make a Glad hand half a world away than to make it domestically. And as we have automation in the manufacturing process, like we see with consumer products, we will likely see the return of more manufacturing in North America, making our own supply chains more resilient. But that's 100% one of the big challenges here.
And Matt, we've already seen that the companies who did manufacture, or even if they didn't do all of their manufacturing here, the companies that actually controlled their own manufacturing processes, they have weathered this far better than their competitors who didn't, because they're not like, you know, I think of Sampa. They are a tier 2 aftermarket, you know, but they're global, and they control every aspect of their manufacturing from raw material all the way through globally. They have fared way better and are actually growing like crazy right now compared to some of their competitors who are in big trouble.
This is really fascinating, because I mean, this is not a 1-year solution or 2-year solution. This is like a 5 to 10 year solution to get back on track, you know, to move in that direction. But it just goes to show that when you let things slip, when you're not investing in things that are important along the way, it takes one event to disrupt the entire thing. And that's, I think, what we're seeing. Because, you know, like I go back to like the auto parts that you work in. I mean, not only do you have trucks that are down and can't make money, but now you have, you know, dealerships or repair centers that have vehicles that are just sitting there waiting on parts, and it clogs up what they're doing, and, you know, they're frustrated. I mean, it just creates a huge mess in getting the parts. It's been so frustrating for me. I had the situation with the RV recently that we just lost because it sat at the dealership for 3.5 weeks to get a part that wasn't available, and then there was an accident. It's like, man, if that part was available, that thing would have been out of there, you know. But this is just keeps impacting so many people.
That's a great point to bring up, is that every day that truck is revenue you're moving. Trucking companies looking to know what's revenue per truck per day. And you might be losing at a minimum maybe $1,000 a day, but there are some firms that those trucks, they're losing $3,000 or $4,000 a day because they can't get the part for that truck.
Right. It's nuts, like what it's doing right now to the economy. But it's going to take years to get back on track and to figure all that out. It's just unfortunate we have to suffer through this for a while.
And we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see a big investment in Puerto Rico. I've already talked to some of my colleagues that have manufacturing there that they were already there, and they're seeing big investment in Puerto Rico. That nearshoring model, I think, is going to be a big part of it. We also have to continue to see cheap energy being sent from North America or from the US and Canada into Mexico and Central American countries, because that will give us, the cheaper the energy we can provide to them, the cheaper the manufacturing costs for the products coming back. And what that does is that allows companies with like US or Canadian headquarters to have much more control, direct control over the manufacturing, which then allows us to bring parts here. Because, the solution can't just be parts go up 100% in cost. Like that's not going to work either. That's just like with the fuel going up, then everything goes up. The cost of operating that truck becomes untenable. So we have to find ways of keeping our costs down on parts, maintenance, fuel, just to keep the trucking industry rolling.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question. Is there cheap energy right now, Jamie? It seems like energy is incredibly expensive right now. We can't seem to find the cheap
It's expensive to the consumers, but look at what the energy companies are making. The province of Alberta was in massive debt because of COVID. You can imagine, right? Everybody went into massive debt. We just posted a $4 billion surplus. We recovered. Our province is, and that's just from tax revenue on the oil and gas companies that operate here in Alberta. And if you're not familiar with Canada, Alberta is just the cousin to Texas. We're just a little bit smaller version of Texas.
With fewer people too.
I have lots of experience of shipping line pipe from Texas all up to Alberta.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I mean energy, like, and when I say cheap energy, when we talk about natural gas, we talk about shale oil. That has just revitalized the whole energy sector in US and Canada. And if they want, we can send cheap energy to Central America if we need to for manufacturing. But it's got to be a priority of our governments to do that, right?
One of the things in much longer term is you look at moving away from internal combustion engines or ICE vehicles and moving towards like electrification. These systems have far fewer parts. I mean, you're talking thousands of parts fewer than an ICE engine. So as you move away from ICE, you're going to see that there will be less overall parts because ICE is around busting things up, explosions inside your motor, giving you power. Whereas with an electric vehicle, you don't have that same level of wear and tear. So there are some longer term solutions that will help reduce some of the pressure on the heavy duty parts business, at least on the power aspect.
But again, that's years, right? That's still a year's solution away. It's not,
well,
not
an
tomorrow or next month.
An example of that is Exos. They provide electric vehicles to like companies like UPS. They have a Class 8 version now. It has 22 moving parts.
Wow.
That's it. But I counter that we are not going to get out of this with electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are going to play a role. We're going to have multi-powered units. We're going to have electric. We're probably going to have hydrogen.
At some point, yep.
Biodiesel. And you look at what Cummins is doing. Cummins is coming out with a gas engine for their mid tier, like medium duty trucks. Cummins has very clearly stated in their long-term planning that the diesel engine will be alive and vibrant and well in 2040. And so, I mean, none of us in our working careers are going to see the end of the diesel engine in trucking. We'll all be retired before that ever happens.
Hopefully, that's right.
California can't run the air conditioners right now. How are they going to power all the electric vehicles that they plan on mandating? I'm sorry, there's no way for the trucking industry to switch in the next 10 or 15 years out of diesel. It's not possible.
Yeah, practically speaking, it's just not, like you said, it's just absolutely not possible.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy. Hey,
so this is an issue for a while.
Nathan, is that a word on the street shirt you're wearing there, my friend? Just show that thing off a little bit. Stand up and let everybody see that. See that?
Yeah, it's I did the baseball shirt.
Love it. 3/4 sleeve.
Something different. Didn't have a baseball shirt, so I figured I'd grab one. Fits well. Very comfortable.
Appreciate it, man. The swag store is rocking and rolling, so really appreciate that. For everybody watching, if you want to pick up some word on the street swag, go to shop.betaconsultinggroup.com. Use the coupon code beta-go to get 30% off your entire order. We're loving having people a part of our community. And good looking shirt, man. Like that a lot. That's fun. All right, Jamie, we got to transition to podcasting. We want to talk about this for a little bit because this is what you're doing a lot. I'm doing a lot of this. Matt Leffer's doing a lot of this. People are doing a lot of this. Raquel is doing a lot of this. Raquel's got a new show coming out. Raquel, why don't you tell everybody about your new show real quick?
Hi, Eric. Sure. So we just started a podcast called Truckers Talk Live, and we're going around and interviewing truck drivers. We want to hear their stories. We want to hear their point of view and really share it so that we can bring the youngsters into the industry and really show them, that this is an honorable career path to choose. It's just you got to be willing to go with the good and the bad.
Yeah, I love this. We were just talking about this. Matthew and I and a few others were talking about we got to tell the stories of truck drivers of what it's like out there on the road and get people excited. And then, bam, here comes Trucker Talks Live. You're going to be doing some of these talks like while they're sitting at the receiving dock just waiting and other times when they're on the road. I'm so excited about this. Have you launched one yet? When does the launch happen? Where are we at with all that?
We did. We launched one today. Shared it out on LinkedIn and our website. We're still working on the rest of it to get it out onto Spotify and out there. But every Tuesday, there's going to be a new one released.
Love that. So everybody check out Trucker Talks Live with Raquel Packets from Zen Freight Solutions. I'm so excited about that. Kudos to you. Congratulations. Nice work, my friend. Nice work, my friend. Okay. All right. So we had a poll out there. We put a poll out today about podcasting, kind of a trivia poll about podcasting. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to read this because of the computer. In fact, I think I'm going to ask Matthew Leffler. Matthew, would you take over as host and read the questions and the answers, and we'll talk through it. Let's go.
How many podcasts on Apple have at least 10 episodes? And the vast majority of you said 720,000. What's the right answer? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. The right answer is actually 720,000. That is correct.
Go.
So well done. I think people are Googling these. I think they're cheating. But you know what? It's okay. Sorry.
Use the tools at your disposal. That's important.
Exactly. Now think about this. 720,000 sounds like a lot, but it's actually just a small percentage of all the podcasts that go out there. A lot of them don't reach 10 episodes. So Raquel, you get to 10 episodes, your money. You're good. Jamie, how many episodes do you have with Heavy Duty Parts Report so far?
220 or something like that. I'm not sure what this week. We dropped 3 this week. Let me just double check.
Blasting that number out of the roof, which is awesome. Yeah. So a lot of podcasts don't actually make it to 10. We just made 100 on Wednesday with Standing Out. Very exciting. Great show with Charlie Safra hosting that. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So Raquel, we'll look for those episodes coming out really soon.
Yeah, we dropped episode 219 this morning. 5 tips you need to know to protect your personal security.
Nice. Very good. And everybody, if you're not following the Heavy Duty Parts Report, make sure you go and do that right now. Okay.
Just to build off of that, to follow,
go ahead.
For that. So heavy-duty truck parts between class 6, 7, 8, and trailers is likely around anywhere between $30 and $40 billion annually. This is a massive part of the supply chain. 10% of your revenue as a trucking company goes to repair and maintenance. And so understanding what your customers go through, what your shippers or your suppliers go through is critical. And Jamie's one of the very few voices that's out there right now talking about what it means to be in heavy-duty parts from the shop side, from the manufacturing side, distribution side. There's tons of value in what he produces every week. So I'm a huge fan of Jamie.
And think about that, Matthew. Like, gosh, if parts are going up, 10% is now probably 12%, may become more because the cost, that operating ratio just keeps coming down and down. So it's crazy. All right. Question 2, Matthew. Why don't you read that off for us?
What is the average length of a podcast? The majority here said 34 minutes. What is the answer?
The correct answer, I believe, now I'm having this from memory here, everybody, so if I get this wrong, just correct me. It's how it goes. But the correct answer, I believe, is 19 minutes. 19 minutes is the average length of the podcast. Yeah, so
I think
close.
a lot of people want their podcast to kind of be the average commute, at least before the pandemic. That was kind of the goal. So I think that's why that number is where people are at.
Yeah, and it's hard also to carry something for more than 30 minutes. Like, you have to have a pretty good conversation, a really good guest to carry a conversation much longer than that. So that sounds all right. Okay, question 3, Matthew, when it comes up.
Who was the first president to be a guest on a podcast?
I like this question, and I do know the answer. What did everybody say?
The majority says Barack Obama, but I'm going to have to think.
You would think so.
You'd think.
But that's not correct.
It seems like a very Clinton thing to do.
You would think that as well.
I think
you guys
W.
would be surprised to know that it's George W. Bush.
Yeah,
George
I
W.
can see
Bush
that.
started putting his weekly radio address on podcasts. He was the first president to do that, which makes sense because podcasting wasn't really a thing back when Clinton was in office, but he might have done it, later in life. But actually, that's how it started, was the weekly presidential address, which is typically on the radio, moved to podcasting, and George W. Bush was the first one. So kudos to W for being first on that. Yeah. But I would have thought Barack Obama had I not looked it up. That's true. Okay. Question 4. Matthew, do me the honor.
Who is the highest paid podcaster? And Joe Rogan has been the overwhelming selection of the group. I'd probably have to agree with that.
So all of those people right there that are listed are in the top 10 or 15. They're all in the top. All right. And some people might recognize Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace University, and some others on there. But the correct answer, Matthew, you are correct. It is Joe Rogan. Reportedly got a $200 million deal with Spotify to podcast. And I don't even know if that counts any of the products that he pushes as well. It's probably products that he pushes, he gets that as well. It's amazing how much money you can make if you make it big in podcasting. Jamie, where are you on that list? Did you make that list? I did not make the list.
I'm number 11. I didn't break top 10 this year, so we'll have to see how we go.
Next year.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
right.
listen, podcasting has transformed my life and my career. I am definitely not in those ranges, but I have transformed the life my family gets to live because of my podcast. So I am going to be eternally grateful to this media and this platform that has really just changed the trajectory of what we're doing. So it's well worth it if you have a good strategy, you stick to it, and you keep going.
And if you're passionate about it, that's right. You can't quit. You got to be passionate about it. But the truth is, you'll never know if you don't start. If you have this idea, if you're thinking about a podcast, you just won't know until you start. Again, Raquel, so proud of you, my friend, for starting your podcast. Raquel's going to do big things, everybody. I'm just telling you, she's already doing big things. She's going to do even bigger things. And podcasting may just be one of those big things, which is awesome.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Whatever.
Love. I get so much love.
Nothing but love here in the street crew. That's right. Okay, question 4 or 5. I'm not even sure we're on now. We're on 5. Okay,
How much does it cost on average to start a podcast? Everyone here says number 8, $200. There's a few others, but 200 being the lowest amount. I agree with that.
The average. That is the average. That's correct, because you get a microphone for $60, $70, maybe a light for 25 or 30, maybe a podcasting service, a SaaS service, and you're good. You're golden. You're ready to go. So it doesn't cost that much to get started. You can even do it on your phone if you wanted to. You could literally record on your phone. If you're just doing an audio, you can do a voice memo or recording, and you can literally get started for as low as probably $12 a month for a Buzzsprout subscription or things like that. So if you're thinking about podcasting, if you have an idea, get started, even if it's not good the first couple times. I mean, if you go back to Chris Jolly's first episode in which I was the guest, it was probably terrible. I don't know. I mean, he picked a terrible guest to start off with, first of all. But it could have been terrible. But now he's improved, And one day we'll improve here at Word on the Street as well. We'll get rid of amateur hours. We'll improve as well. But you just got to get started. I'm so big on that right now. That if you have a vision or a dream, just get started. Jamie, what was it like for you getting started?
Yeah, I mean, I did a whole other show called Build a Better Business. I did 150 episodes. Ooh. I did it for 2 years. I figure I spent 600 hours editing it. I had the cheapest equipment I could afford, and I learned a lot. And when I got to a point where I realized it wasn't working, it was too broad, it wasn't specific enough, I learned a lot. And then I pivoted into the Heavy Duty Parts Report, and I was able to hit the ground running. Episode 219 this morning dropped. So yeah, it's a definite crawl, walk, run approach. You can always upgrade your equipment. Just start. Nobody was listening back then anyway, and now if they want to go back and listen, they can. And it's kind of funny, right? So,
well, it's fair to a couple things. First of all, it's fair to say that we wouldn't have the Heavy Duty Parts Report if we didn't have Building a Better Business podcast, right? That's the evolution of it. So you had to start there. But when you say no one's listening, that's so true, right? When you first started, it reminds me of Major League when Bob Uecker, he's the announcer, and he says something. He's like, "You can't say it on the air," and he's like, "Don't worry, nobody's listening." I mean, that's the beauty of starting a podcast, is that you really don't have a lot of pressure at the beginning to knock it out of the park. You can just do silly stuff, figure out what works,
And you shouldn't underestimate how people enjoy watching you grow and progress. Like, I have listeners who were back at the beginning, and they'll come up to me at trade shows, and these are sometimes like CEOs of companies or heads of associations, and they'll be like, "I've been rooting for you since episode 10. Keep going, man."
It's so true. Like the story, the journey, it's like fun. People do enjoy watching that. And kind of seeing where it goes, where it progresses and stuff like that. So again, the moral of the story, if you've got a vision, if you've got an idea, just get started. We want to hear it. There's not too many voices out there. We need more voices, especially in transportation. We need more voices. So there's about 10 people that I know in my network that I wish they would start something, and I hope they will soon. But it's terribly exciting. Okay, do we have a question 6? I can't even remember. Is there a question 6? There's a question 6. Matthew, go for
What
it.
percentage of Americans listen to at least one podcast a month? The majority here selected 32% with 6 votes and 45% with 4 votes.
The correct answer is 32%. So 1 out of every 3 Americans listens to a podcast on a regular basis, which tells you 2 things. 1, a lot of people are listening. I mean, extrapolate the numbers. That's going to be in the millions, like tens of millions. But then 2, there's 2/3 of the population that's still like not quite into it yet, and you might just have the show that ropes them into wanting to listen to something. I think it's really powerful to think about the ability for distribution and scale of podcasting is just immeasurable.
Now, I will say, as we talk about podcasting, I'm dropping off in about 5 minutes because I'm doing a live interview with Abby Bradle. So I had to prepare for that. I'm not as polished and precise as Jamie or Trey, and so it takes a lot of time to make sure that I speak in a way that is understandable.
See, that was just a scheduling mistake right there. That's all that was. No big deal. You know?
That's just a handoff. It's a handoff. That's what we're doing. We're handing
That's
off.
right. So everybody, yeah, go ahead.
I got a trivia question to add to this, if it's okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
What is the average number of plays a podcast gets in the first 30 days per episode?
Ooh. Okay, I'm
Greg?
going to say...
I was going to say 5. That was my guess.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 15.
Okay. 2?
7.8. 7.8.
Okay. So the average number of plays per episode a podcast gets in the first 30 days is 140.
Nice.
Really?
If you are more than 140 plays per episode, you are in the top percentage of podcasters. If you can get up to 500 listens per episode, I believe that puts you in the top 15% of all podcasts in existence.
That's cool to know. That is good to know. That's awesome. I've been looking at my numbers a little bit as well. I'm getting close to 1,000 downloads a month on Standing Out, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of fun to see those numbers go. But I think it's probably over time, right? So that's not necessarily in the first.
It's just the
30
first.
days.
No, that's the stat.
Oh, it's in the first 30 days.
It's
Okay,
total
okay.
plays in the first 30 days per episode, and that's the average. So the point I'm trying to make is that in podcasting, you do not need to have Joe Rogan type numbers. I mean, when you get Joe Rogan numbers, you get Joe Rogan revenue. But you can just have a few key people in your niche, in your sector that follow you, and that can transform your career, your life, and it also gives you the ability to serve and help other people, which is very important in the whole process as well. So people think you got to do tens of thousands. You don't.
That's right. No, 100%. And I think about it like with Standing Out, with what I'm doing on that. Like our whole goal is to, entertain, educate, and inspire. And there are people who have just reached out that I didn't even know were watching. And like it just makes a difference. It totally makes a difference in their life. You can help more people by getting distribution. And so podcasting is great to do that. So real quick, the moral of the story, everybody, is this. Make sure at 1 o'clock you jump right over to the Armchair Attorney, to Matthew Leffler, and check out his interview with Abby. It's going to be awesome. So excited for what you're doing.
I just marked it on my calendar. Let's go, Matt.
Oh, spectacular. It's a big one. We got a lot of people coming. This is going to be very exciting. I'm
not surprised, man. You draw a crowd. You always do, man. That's how that works. It's awesome. That's exciting. Okay. Did we have another question, or was that the last question on the survey? We got one more.
Which country leads the world in podcast consumption?
Yeah.
We have United States ranking as number 1 for 7 people voting for that. I don't know. What's the answer?
People? But that is not correct, everybody. That's not correct. The correct answer is Sweden.
Oh. It gets dark there for so long. It makes sense to me.
They got nothing else to do. They're just in their house listening to podcasts, sitting by the candle.
That and rock and roll or metal. That's the 2 things they listen to.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought that was really interesting.
I could think of a couple other things people who live in northern climates do regularly because they're bored.
Well, we'll move on from there. Move on from that one.
I was talking about hockey. Come on.
I was going to say I have twins coming, but I'm in the Midwest.
2 most fun things to do in cold weather.
Well, I have to drop it just before I go. I am so proud of you, Jamie. I have been following Jamie's career for a few years now. I've been in heavy duty since 2010. There are very few people who I mentioned earlier who have that voice that talk about the problems we have in supply chain as it relates to the pieces of material that make the vehicles work. And I love what you do. Keep going, man. I'm a huge fan. And Trey, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm so happy for all of you.
Thanks, Matt. See you later.
He's funny. Have a good interview with Abby. You know, Matthew's the reason that Jamie and I knew each other. He connected us. And so, again, that's part of it, too. Is like I've met so many people, and Jamie, you'd probably say this, too. Yeah. I've met so many people through podcasting that I probably honestly never probably would have met. It's been absolutely tremendous for me, just networking and learning from so many people.
Trey, the hard part is you go to a trade show and people come up to you and they know you. They know you because they're following you. And they're like, Jamie, how you doing? And I'm like, hey, man, nice to see you too.
It's a little awkward at first, but at the same time, it lets you know that it's working, like you're actually making an impact. And so I always look forward to that. I enjoy that, but at the same time, it's kind of weird, you know. And here's what I've learned, Jamie. I don't know what tricks you have, but I've learned just to say, hey, thank you so much. What's your name? And just get it out there that I don't know who they are, because it definitely helps out.
The cool thing for me is how this has enabled me to build rapport with people I've never met before. I mean, I've had people when I finally do meet them in person, we're giving each other hugs because we're friends.
Yeah.
We've gotten to know each other. We just haven't had the chance because of COVID or whatever to actually be in person. And then you finally do meet them in person, and it's the first time ever seeing them. And it's like, you're there, you're embracing, and then you can really accelerate the relationship beyond there.
I think that's the way it's been for everybody on the street crew. And in fact, I still haven't had a chance to give Scott a hug in person, but one day we're going to make it happen, my friend. It's definitely going to happen. But,
I can only imagine that day, like Robert and I clash and there's some kind of a big explosion or just big old manly man hugs.
There should be a chest bump, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose on that. You know, I'm going to lose on those, but we should maybe do a chest bump or something like that. But no, I think you're right. I mean, the relationships are actually genuine. Matthew left and I never met him in person, but that guy's like a brother. I mean, you know, when he has a problem or I have a problem, we call each other. Like, I mean, it's a really great relationship, and podcasting has been the reason that all got started. So it's really powerful for your network and what you can do, the people you can meet, the impact you can have, the influence you can have, and the influence you can receive as well of like-minded people that are out there. You just don't know it. You just don't know they're there. So, all right. Well, that's it for that poll. I think that was the last one. But Sweden, kudos to you for listening to the most podcast out there. Anybody watching from Sweden, put yourself in the comments for sure. All right, Jamie, here's how we end the show every week. It's kind of interesting, kind of unique. I don't know. It's kind of silly. We have a segment that we call This Week in Pictures. Some people send their own pictures. I put my own personal ones on there. We talk about some new things that are going on. So we're going to go ahead and put this up. We're going to talk through it. Go through and talk about what's happened so far this past week in pictures. It's much more that happened. I missed a bunch of stuff, but this is interesting. I was actually in a store, or where was I? I was in a store the other day, and I saw a $2 bill. When was the last time you guys saw a $2 bill? It's been a while.
I carry two in my wallet.
Shut up.
My mother works at a bank, and she gives $2 bills to every one of her grandkids on every one of their birthdays. So I probably have about 10 in my house right now.
You know, I read a story recently of a guy who he had a bunch of $2 bills, and he went to spend them, and there were some like Gen Zers or whatever the new generation is right now. I don't even know what it is, but below millennials. The new generation was at the register and saw it, and they called the cops because they thought it was all counterfeit because he had like 10 of them or 11 of them. And so he's trying to pay like, $20 with $2 bills. And they're like, these aren't real. Those kids have never even seen them. I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. I think $2 bills went out of distribution like around maybe 1980 or something. I don't know, but haven't seen one in a long time. So I saw one this week. That's literally the picture that I took. I had to take a picture of it. So pretty crazy. Some other people have $5 bills. Okay, cool. All right. Next slide. So also this past week, we can get to the next slide here real quick. I had the chance to go to the Walcott Truckers Jamboree, and right in the middle there is me with my good friends, John and Raquel Packets of Zen Freight Solutions. But that was a great time. Raquel, are you still on here? Because I can't see. I don't know if she's still on here or not. All right, but anyway, we had a great time. There you are. There you are. No, great. We had a great. It was. We had an awesome time. We sat by a campfire, had pizza together, all of us. It was fun. And those trucks on the right are like two of my favorite trucks. And one of them, you can see they got the Walcott Truckers Jamboree or the Iowa 80 up on the water pole over there. But some really cool trucks. There was the breast cancer awareness truck that our friend Ava drives. You got some interviews with some of them, didn't you? I think you did. I'm pretty sure she did. All right. Next slide. Send your email. Next slide, everybody. All right, in this one here, okay, cool. I got to go down to Springfield this past week. Got to see my good friend Greg Grimes. He was an original, an OG on the street crew. He was a part of the crew back when it first started, but now he's running a company. He doesn't have time for us anymore. And I met some of the people over at Logix, and I love the shirt that she's wearing here. She's got the Women in Logistics shirts. That's a handmade shirt that they made to promote women in logistics, which is awesome. And I had a chance to talk about that a lot this week on with my guests on Standing Out with Liz Wayne on Tuesday and others like that. So that was a pretty cool trip. All right, next slide. Roll it. What's next? Okay, this one here. All right, everybody. This this is a personal one. This is my daughter Naomi. So my daughter Naomi, she's 12. She's had a bunk bed for a long time. She wanted more of a young woman's room. She wanted to get rid of the bunk bed. So we finally found a buyer for the bunk beds, but we had to take everything off the bed. But they weren't coming till next morning. So she had to make a bed for herself. This is what she did, and it just reminded me of when she was a kid. I got to tell you, folks, our kids grow up way too fast. I took this picture just because I just wanted to hold on to that memory. She was on the little cushion there for a chair in the corner, made herself a little bed, sleep on the floor, and I don't know. I had to show you guys. It was just something, but our kids grow up way too fast, y'all. Spend time with your kids this weekend, everybody. That's all I'm going to say to that. All right, next slide. What do we got next? I don't know what's next. Okay, cool. That's up here in Minneapolis. So I got to be with Meshach, our good friend who's on the show often, Meshach Weber in the upper left-hand corner. Got to see my friend Eric Kruger of Navix doing some cool stuff. Check him out at navix.com, I believe, or .io, I'm not sure. And got to meet my good friend in person, Zach Schwartzendruber. Sorry, I guess I get that wrong. He's with Benefits for Trucking, everybody, so check that out as well. So it's been fun to see people up here in Minneapolis this week. Next slide. What's next? I think we got some news stories coming up here. Oh, no. Check this out. So this is here at the tournament. That's behind the fence over on hole number 2, right here at TPC Twin Cities. The girl on the left there is about to be a freshman in college, and she was making money. So it's never too late to start your entrepreneurial journey. Even if it's a Kool-Aid stand at a golf tournament, everybody, she was selling waters for $1 and chips for $1 and things like that. So making some money for her upcoming college adventure. I thought that was pretty cool, and I support entrepreneurship and small business. So that was really cool. I got myself some chili.
You got to respect that kind of hustle, for real. Anytime I see that on the side of the road, I will stop and just tell them, hey, give me your whatever drink you got and purchase.
Yeah.
Support that. It doesn't matter what age
That's
they are.
right.
It's so awesome to see.
That's right. And how many 18-year-olds would do that? Like that, that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Nowadays, none.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, next
And the
slide.
ones who do are going to light it up.
That's right. Oh, we got swag. Let's just move on. We got some new hashtag shirts. Nobody wants to see that. We got some new hats coming in too. Okay. All right, everybody, check this out. So Samantha Jones put this on there. If you're not following Samantha Jones, please do. She's going to be a guest on Iron Minds on Monday morning. So Scott, she's going to be on with Hayden on Monday morning while I fly to Phoenix. But she put this on there. More COVID stuff out of China, more disruptions. It just seems like we can't get out of this endless cycle. I wonder how this is going to impact things. Or is this going to give the ports even more time to figure stuff out? I don't know. But what are inventory levels right now? They're pretty high right now, aren't they? I mean, that's what the last thing I heard. I don't know. Anybody know? I don't know. All right. Okay. Moving on. Next one. We're almost done here, everybody. Next one here. This small city in, I can't remember exactly where it was. You can read at the bottom. They went away from public transportation and now they're doing like vans to do more personalized transportation, but it's still public transportation. So they got an app. It's just like Uber, and you schedule a ride to go where you need to go. And that way people who can't walk to the bus stop or have trouble with that can actually get around, and it's just more convenient. So cities, taking a page out of Uber and doing that. I thought that was pretty cool. Anybody else see anything like that?
That is pretty cool.
It is. I think it's going to pick up here soon, especially in the smaller outskirts of the city, those suburbs. That's a genius idea.
How long until none of us own a car anymore? How long? I don't know.
Anytime you can customize your service, though, right, to people's needs, it's going to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last thing. I think this is our last slide here, and then we're going to call it a day. This was, the Marines are set to have their first Black 4-star general in their 238-year history, which part of me goes, really? Like, that's a long time. Like, seriously? But at the same time, kudos. It's really exciting to see diversity continue to grow in our great country, to see this type of thing happen. So kudos to him on achieving that award. That's really cool. I wanted to end on some positive news because, Scott, as you know, it's always like negative Nancy around here. You guys complain. So we had to put some positive news out there. So then we're going to end on that one. I don't.
Well, to add to this, Trey, to add to that, a 4-star general, it's not an award. That's a position. So that's rare to get to, anyways. And to be the first African American to get that's a high level achievement for him. So,
and I was just going to say about that, like the diversity is amazing, and at the same time, that individual has put in the work, the they've got the competency, they've paid the price, they've put the effort in, and that's a real example to anybody else who says, hey, I look like that person, I can do it too. And so that is like,
so powerful.
congratulations. Yeah, very
Man,
powerful.
I was talking to I had 4 women on the Standing Out podcast this week. Only one guy, Randy Fox, but four women. Liz Wayne was on there, Charlie Saffron, of course, Nadine Nocerotai. And one theme that we talked about on several of those episodes is the power of seeing somebody like you doing something you want to do. You know, to be able to have a vision for that. You know, you think about like Kobe Bryant. He talked about that. He wanted to be Michael Jordan. You know, he saw that and wanted to be that. It's just so powerful to have that. So kudos to the Trailblazers out there. That's really exciting. Awesome news. And really cool to end on. So, Jamie, thanks for being on the show, man. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and everybody, make sure you follow Jamie on LinkedIn. Also follow his podcast, The Heavy Duty Parts Report, as well. And you can catch me probably as the website as well, but check him out on LinkedIn and connect with him. And make sure you come back next week. We're going to have Andy Tooley of Sethmar Transportation out of Kansas City, my good friend. He's going to be on the show next week. We're going to talk freight brokerage a little bit, so it's going to be a blast. And again, have a great weekend, everybody. Finish strong Friday.
Thanks, everyone.
After today. We'll see you guys on the next show. Take care, everybody. Peace. Got to go play some golf.